I'm going to be going over the 5 alternatives to using Bubble. And we're going to be looking at the different platforms, the key features, the pricings, and what platforms I personally would choose. To begin, first think about what are you trying to create? In the comment section down below, let me know or write it down on a piece of paper. That's going to be important because all of these different platforms that we go through have pros and cons. They're built for different reasons. So it's important for you to understand what you're trying to build to make sure you select the right type of platform. Let's go with my first option, and that is Flutterflow. Now, this is where you can create different apps and you can deploy them to the iOS store, the Google Play Store, whatever. Flutterflow was initially for mobile applications, but now it's expanded and you can create websites and other things all using Flutterflow. The next one I would look at would be Retool. This is where you can create internal tools. And you can do a lot of complex things with this, the formats and everything like that. And we've seen six-figure businesses actually build their tool using Retool. Next, a sleeper. People don't talk about Canonic enough. You can build internal tools again with this, but this is more on the low-code side. Number 4 would be Builder. And this really allows you to visually build out different web applications, but you can build like SaaS, Chrome extensions, progressive web apps, which are PWAs. The list goes on and on. If you try and do something with Web3, you can do that with Builder as well. And then the fifth, excuse me, is WeWeb. And this is where you can build production grade applications really quickly. And I got a sneak peek of my sixth and favorite one a little bit later. So let's go feature by feature of like looking at these 5 different selections. Okay, so if we're looking at Flutterflow, the features that really pop out is it's a great user experience. So you can do a lot of advanced animations. You can do a lot of different things as you're building using Flutterflow. The animations, you can do push notifications, you can do light and dark mode, and also enables you to use chat and group chat. All standard things if you're trying to build mobile applications and really scale from there. The other thing that I would mention too is they have something that they just added, which they're in another video I'm going to be talking about, which is Flutterflow AI generation or AI gen. And you can actually type in up to 500 characters or, yeah, 400 characters or 400 words describing what you're looking for on the page, and then it will build it for you. There's a link down below somewhere to show you what this looks like, the preview, and then me actually having access to it. This is going to be a game changer because this is going to allow you to be building all different types of apps and just describe the layout, and then it's going to build the framework for you. It's just going to get better and better. The other thing that I'll say with the features, a thing that sticks out would be Flutterflow allows you to export the code. So this is based on the open source Flutter code, which is created by Google. So you can export it. So you're not having that lock in if you don't want to use Flutterflow anymore. You can just take the code, manipulate it yourself, and do whatever. So there's a plus. There's something to consider there. Retool, I think, is one of the best when you're trying to create a lot of advanced actions and you're doing API calls. You can be doing things with Google Sheets and do app scripts, just a lot of really nitty gritty things where people want to have a lot of control. Retool is a great option. Along with Flutterflow, with having that exporting factor, Canonic is one of the few that allow you to actually export your code. There's really 3: Flutterflow, UI Bakery used to do it, but I would say Canonic is. I just wouldn't use UI Bakery in a lot of places, and they might have stopped that feature. But Canonic does allow you to export the code, so that's another thing to consider. I would say with Canonic, which stands out is you can build a front end and back end, which just means you can visually build out what you're going to do for your internal tool. So look nice when people log in or do whatever. But then also, if you're trying to create a back end where you're creating a database or even API documentation where people can now interact with your database, it does all those things with Canonic. Yeah. Now it's more of a low code. You're going to have to do a little bit more, or understand a little bit more. But those are some of the benefits of having it. Okay, next up is Builder. Builder is pretty unique. th- Being Builder is unique because it's so scalable. I will say it is very hard to use. Now, I know a lot of people have pushback. Sometimes they're like, well, it's like anything else. Well, actually, the ones that I have seen that have the most success with Builder, they're actually developers that instead of them coding, now they're going to be using their expertise to using Builder. So for a no code, so it depends on where you're coming in in this space. If you're a no coder and you're like, I just want to build out my idea very quickly and I don't have a technical background, Builder is going to be tough for you. You're going to have to learn. It's a steep learning curve. Versus if you're a developer and you're trying to build something where you're trying to build fast. You're trying to not experience a lot of errors and debug and spend time doing that. Builders could be one of your best friends. It just depends on where you're coming from and what you're trying to build. But Builder, I've seen large enterprise companies be able to build things with Builder. That's one of the benefits of it. A newer platform in the space would be WeWeb. There's a lot that people are trying to now do with them, especially with different changes with pricing with Bubble. What I would say is with WeWeb, I'd start looking at what can it do for you and really think about, is this the right platform for what you're trying to do? Don't just jump in and say like, well, it could be cheaper, what am I going to do, all of those things. But there's a lot of things it can do, but what are you trying to use it for? If you want more information on WeWeb, let me know, we might do a video on it. Okay, so we looked at the basic features of all of them. And by the way, other videos down below, you'll link out. We have tons of versus videos if you want me to go a little bit deeper on some of these platforms. But let's just talk about brass tacks and what people care about. And that is also about pricing. What are we looking at here? Well, for Flutterflow, you can start for free. The thing that I would really focus on is, again, what are you going to be using this for? And are you using this as a hobby, a minimal viable product, scaling all of those different things? But to get into the game for Flutterflow, it's still free. You're going to have limited things, but you're going to be able to experience the platform, start building and testing your application. At the standard plan, that's where you can download the code. I don't see this being a problem because if you're going to get to a level of, if you want to leave or there's something to show for this, you could either just pay $30 a month and just download your project and just bounce if you want to. So I don't see it being a problem at the $30 price point. It has a Firebase integration right there, so you can have a back end, and Firebase is very affordable. You just have to know how to structure it and things like that. So there's a learning curve when you're dealing with Flutterflow and using a database like that. If you're using a template or something, you're going to be able to have a lot of things configured. You're still going to have to do the basic hookup with it. You're going to have pre-built templates all the way across. I think that's great. Two API endpoints for the $0 and $30. I don't see that being a problem. And then when you're more serious and you're trying to do something with APIs, it'll be unlimited at $70 a month. The only thing that I would really look at is if you're trying to do a lot more advanced things and you're going to have it hooked up to GitHub, then you're going to be in the $70 range. And then when you're going to deploy it to the app in Play Store, that's going to be $70 as well. So again, you can start for free, test it out, even send it to a lot of your beta testers. And then when you're ready, you can upgrade, and you can do that for a month and you can just bounce after that or continue. And Flutterflow, the one thing I will say with Flutterflow, they're constantly building. They're constantly building. So that's awesome to see. Awesome to see. So we see that their team is really agile. They're constantly pushing different features, changes. I just love that about that team. For a retool, number one, check out how much you can, like, there's tons of, like, right here, the startups get 25K in retool credits. There's so many things that you can be doing that. And that's just great. So it starts at $0 for 5 users. Again, this is for internal use. It makes sense that they're capping the users or doing things like that. So it's $5. No, 0 for 5 users, and then it's $10 per user per month if you're going team. For the $0 a month, build unlimited web and mobile apps, write and execute unlimited workflows, connect APIs, store up to 5 gigs of hosted um, post PostgreSQL database, 100 production ready UI components. So you can basically have the full package at $0. This is great, especially if you have a small team and all those things. And again, you can apply for the 25K for the retool credits. Let's see, at $10, adding unlimited users. Yeah, so $10 per user. Just keep that in mind. Configure staging and production environments for your resources. That makes sense, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of just a lot with your database. Again, depends on what kind of internal app you're trying to create. Create and manage releases of your apps, so version and all those things, and revert to any previous version of an app with version history. Great. At the $50 level, unlimited environment, deployment environments, custom permission for groups, granular control. Okay, so that's really going to be depending if you're managing a larger corporation, things like that, or a larger team, whatever you're trying to do with Retool. For the most part, I've seen a lot of people just go with the free plan and they do great. Again, depends on what you're trying to build. Canonic, if we're looking at pricing, I mean, the essentials, it's $0 for unlimited projects, unlimited collaborations, unlimited users, and Discord report. Discord support. Custom domains, you do not have that. Caching, no. Environments, one. Audit logs, no. Okay, on premises self storage, self hosted. Okay, if we go with that. Okay, so for the vast majority, if you're going to be using this, I'm going to go with Canonic. Advanced pricing, you have to contact them. I don't know what the pricing is right now for the new plan, but I would say the vast majority I've seen people um just use the free plan. Haven't seen someone that has had to move into a paid plan. Guess it's possible depending on what you're trying to build, but it's pretty robust just for the free plan. Again, this is another thing I would just like to point out. When you're dealing with a lot of startups and new no code platforms, pricing will change depending on what's going on. If they're bootstrapped, if they have VC funding, all of those things. So, things to keep in mind. All right. So, pricing for Builder. We're looking at the pricing starting at free. You'll just have the builder domain for free, one builder, 1 gig of bandwidth, 20,000 data records, 5,000 API calls. That's pretty robust for the free. When you go to $29 a month, that's where you have the custom domain. You have no builder branding. So that really starts when you're launching your brand and your series. Then you can go to $29 a month to get started. And you're having that many API calls, 20,000 data records. I yeah, I think that's pretty robust. That's most likely 5,000 API calls per month. And when you're at launching, you have two builders. Let's break this down. You have two builders, 25 gigs of bandwidth, 50,000 data records. So probably rows of data that's going to be going from there. Just like if you're using MySQL, if you're using a Google Sheet, you could be using Xano. The list goes on. 50,000 API calls. Pro, you're going to go with five builders, 250 gig bandwidth, 250,000 data records. Yeah, and 500,000 API calls, $119 a month. So when you're looking at this structure, again, depending on what you're doing with your business, goes from free, $29, 119, and then scaling up, which would be, you know, what is this? Isolated hosting and scaling, premium support, custom billing, one-on-one onboarding. Yeah, you have a lot of things. Custom storage, option for self-hosting, premium support, custom host. Yeah, $500. So for the most part, you're going to be looking at free, 29 or 119. Okay. And then if we look at WeWeb, you're looking at free starting one developer, all the features in edition mode. What's edition mode? Hmm. I have to look into this. Okay. So I want to know what more details about edition. but $59 at starter, one live project, custom domain, one developer, IP whitelisting. So if I'm looking at one developer and then I'm saying everything in free, one live project, that's interesting. I wonder if that is to the public when they describe live. That's another thing. A lot of platforms have different terminology or vocabulary. So I would just look at their documentation or look in their ask their help desk to understand a little bit more. But if I'm seeing one live project for 59, I would assume that's one live application that everyone can use. You get 50,000 monthly app sessions. Users can upload 1 gig of files if they want to. Emails and chat support. $199. You got three developers, roles and permissions. So again, it becomes more granular. Staging environment. So then that way you can stage and test things out before you push it live. Three backups, data caching system. Users can upload 10 gig of files. And then 150K monthly app sessions. So you're going from 059 to 199. That's interesting. Okay, so we went through the five different ones. Now I'm going to give you a sleeper one that I'm going to pick, and this is the sixth one that I don't talk about a lot, or I need to talk about a lot more, and that's Paperform. Now a lot of people might think this is really basic. This is just a form builder, but we have created marketplaces with Paperform for clients and for our students and for ourselves. We've created some of our best converting funnels with Paperform. We have created a ride sharing app MVP with Paperform, and the list goes on and on. I use Paperform all the time. So it really depends on looking at the functionality of what you're trying to do and the robustness of what you need for your application, what platform you plan on using. But these are just a few things that you can be doing instead of using Bubble. Now, the question is, which one would I use if I'm going through all of these different ones? Well, I know some people are going to hate on this, but it really depends. But I'm going to show you a couple that why I would choose it and when. For mobile apps, and if I'm really trying to scale, I'm going to go with Flutterflow. I'm going to be able to export my code if I want to, and if I need to feel like I'm not locked in, I can use it. And overall, they have the best team that keeps scaling quickly in the game in this no code, low code landscape. They are just doing damage. They're one of my favorites. If I'm trying to build internal tools and I'm trying to get away from Bubble, I want a little bit more intricacies. Retool is something that I really look at, but I would say the one downside I would have with Retool is although it makes really good internal tools, I see a lot of people that want very specific UI and UX changes or customization. Retool I would say is perfect for data and structuring what you want around it, not visually at this time. So if you're like, I need it to look a certain way, it can do very basic things. What really stands out with Retool is the robust automation and the back end and what you can be doing with the data and how you can be displaying it, all of those things, not the total overall design of the app and everything like that. If I'm worried about UI UX, it's just going to be Flutterflow all day long. Canonic is very specific use case. If I'm trying to create a CAS, a knowledge as a service, I would probably do that as Canonic. So if I'm selling access to a database, I would be using Canonic hands down. I've heard a lot of great things with Builder. I have yet to seen great use cases in the space of no code and low code to be able to do this. I will say this is probably on par with the most robust ways that you can build pretty much anything with Builder, similar to like Bubble. I mean, if anyone needs to build anything in no code and like you just need an all over like a all in one overall like uh just behemoth, it's going to be Bubble or Builder. The thing that I've been saying with Builder for quite some time is the workflow and how to be able to use how to use Builder, I feel is lacking at this time. They do have some basic tutorials, but I have not seen this at this time. But the community is getting a lot better. They have a Discord and all those things. Just I'm still waiting. That doesn't mean again, enterprise companies, they've been able to scale. This is a solid platform. They're not going anywhere. But I haven't seen I haven't seen what I like for like Flutterflow. It hasn't been as user friendly, and the releases, they still do great things. You can do, again, you can create Chrome extensions, you can do all those things. I haven't seen the community be able to, or even the company to build really easy plug and play templates that make sense in the UI UX to build. Again, if you're a developer coming over, I've heard nothing but great things. And actually, some of my friends that I've referred and they've used Builder, they really like it. But again, it's developers that are writing code and then they're coming to Builder, not the other way around. So I think that's a big thing to mention. WeWeb, I see a lot of experimentation with this. I am still looking for a great use case in people doing this in the community. If you use WeWeb and you want to shout out your project, let me know in the comment section down below. Drop your project or contact me. But I'm still experimenting with WeWeb, but I'm looking for a use case why this is better than any other platform. And again, why am I using Paperform? I'm using Paperform a lot of times because I am trying to create things very quickly and to create MVPs. And again, a lot of people forget about how form builders can just allow you to do a lot of things quickly. But my favorite example, we did Docs Connections. It was a one-sided marketplace to find people that are having problems with no code and low code, and then we connect them with experts. Again, the mechanics of the marketplace and everything we wanted, built it in less than 2 hours of all those things, and we've had great results. The next phase that I would be scaling up from this, if I wanted to use ShareTribe or ShareTribe Flex for marketplaces. But again, I could just knock out my ideas. I do so much with this, and we'll go from there. So let me know in the comment section, which one are you going to be choosing, different ideas and all of those things. And if people are like, Doc, you just went through all of them, which one are you going to choose? Again, the winner is Flutterflow and Paperform. Those are my two that I would go with hands down. If you like these kind of videos, make sure that you like and subscribe. We do this every single week, and I'll see you in the next video.